Testing, testing. I testing. Okay, so welcome everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the MIT Hong Kong Innovation Node present the Urban Technology Week 2024. And this is a part of the series of INT talk and panel discussion in order to explore ways to achieve a more sustainable and equitable society. And we will have also all introducing you the 2 weeks program coming up in the June summer, June 3rd to 15th. So this is a 2 week program designed for bright young talents and minds of all disciplines from MIT and also from Hong Kong universities who aspire to tackle real world challenge with innovative urban technology ideas, which I will be introducing to all of you later on. And also, this event is open to our online audience and in-person audience. Feel free to recommend your friends and family to join online or they're interested in the Urban Tech Week program in the summer if they're university students. And also, we later on we have a tour at the end of this event after the speaker sharing. So welcome to join us the tour around the inner wing. And I'm very appreciate about our collaboration with the Faculty of Engineering Hong Kong U and iDendron and also Inner Wing to support us with this great venue and with all the great students joining us today this afternoon. So first of all, I would like to introduce myself. I'm the one of the speaker and moderator of today's event, and I will be sharing about the community empowerment through design and technology. So I'm the director at the MIT Hong Kong Innovation Node, also an architect and urban designer, and we have been collaborating with a number of projects throughout the years that I will be introducing you. So today, my sharing will be about the work at the MIT Node since 2016. And without introduce the topic yet, I would like to give a background of myself. I'm as an architect and also urban designer. I've been worked on a few projects with MIT Innovation Node about colonies, inclusive innovation and growth, and also a number of exhibitions um, and teaching at the local university as a adjunct. And about the MIT Hong Kong Innovation Node, it dates back to a long history. We have been working, collaborating with research and faculty through with MIT and also local professors such as COHK on a particular project called Made by Hong Kong in 1997. And 2015, we decided to land our node physically and with support of the Hong Kong government and also our MIT alumni. Uh, and we had a space at Hong Kong Productivity Council in 2017, um, officiated by the Hong Kong SAR Chief Executive and also our Associate Provost, Richard Lester. as guest of honor in 2017. So since then, since 2015, we have been bringing MIT to Hong Kong and with a number of initiatives, the Entrepreneurship Center, Innovation Initiative, and also a number of, say, the computer science, and later on with my involvement with architecture and School of Planning, MIT Design X, and also the Media Lab, etc. And our note programs in with particularly engage with entrepreneurship and innovations for younger generations. Also, could think our computational thinking with the Professor Hal Abelson's app Inventor, and also recently under the Sustainability and Smart City Initiative, we have a number of workshops and events related to this topic and involving university students. And we have been running a number of MIT students cohorts to the Greater Bay Area and Hong Kong since 2016. And we also encourage the local university students to join in facilitate these cultural exchanges and knowledge exchanges. So since then, we have the first MEMC, MEFT, and also MIT Innovation Academy for younger kids from high school and secondary schools and younger. And then we also have research projects like the Colonies Inclusive and Innovation and Growth, looking at colonies as the context for university students to work on some innovative urban design solutions together with the industry collaborators. So our ecosystem throughout the years has expanded from not only a local university, but to HKSTP, Science Park, Cyberport, and even Airport Authority and Design Center, and also a number of corporates, and also the ecosystem partners from the entrepreneurship ecosystem. And thus, we aim to boost the inclusivity and innovation with our Hong Kong communities and partners. We encourage university students, young talents like yours, to join our different programs. We host internship, urban tech related symposiums, talks, and events like this one is one of that. And also the community engagement workshops. Later, I will share a few. And we hope to collaborate with all of you in a long-term relationship. And these are some of the previous workshop we had done, and also including industry partners like the Central Market, Invest Hong Kong, New World, and Cyberport, etc. So you can see we are bringing the entrepreneurship ecosystem to a larger extent and introducing to all the our corporate partners. For projects like the Central Market, we host talks and keynote speech, bringing MIT professors to our MIT alumni through a public venue like Central Market. So Professor Kent Larson, as the director of MIT Media Lab, he leads the City Science Group and share his latest research project with the general public in Hong Kong. And also, we work with them to with a 2 weeks project called the Beyond Smart City, a sustainable and livable 10 minutes neighborhood as the theme for university students to look into the area like Island South, how to revitalize these kind of contexts with cultural and natural setup, but with some with the flavor of being revitalizing. So we engage since the 2020. We have been able to engage MIT students to Hong Kong with Hong Kong students' participations, and more than 30, and the next year we 47, and then we invite domain experts like MTR and the um, Hong Kong government, the invigorating island South officers to join our workshops and to give mentorship to our students. And also we offer a hybrid um, workshop for the under the pandemic situations. And regarding the industry collaboration, we have tried a number of successful workshop called through the design thinking framework. We try to explore innovative approach with these participants, the stakeholders engaged, and we also advocate human-centric technology use to develop a sustainable, future-proof city. So these topics involved future of education technology. How can we bring smart learning for social impact in Kowloon East? So we bring upon startups like Cyberport, and also with local teachers and experts from the education industry, and to work together with the social NGO, local NGOs partners in this kind of design brainstorming one-day workshop. We were able to facilitate the exchange of ideas with a new um, innovative mindset. We encourage them to understand what is the pain point, how can we know better the stakeholders' needs, and also develop some disruptive innovation ideas which is different than their day-to-day operation or day-to-day work. And then they will test out via a quick prototype and present to their peers and our new friends that they know from the workshops. And also we under the different framework, we also host another workshop related to the future of art tech, and how can we again bring in a new possibility for in art technology to the local industry. So we engage important stakeholder like EKCC, the East Kowloon Cultural Center from of MCSD, and also local artists and startups from Cyberport. And again, we help them to create new relationship, partnership through this kind of engagement, matchmaking. And we hope that to link up ideas for uh, new creations of art and tech, and create new projects that is with research and development opportunities. So again, other than the industry partners, we work with the professionals and adults with this kind of setup. We also work with secondary school students on the capacity of learning how to create sustainable future. So we introduce the major topic about the industries, about sustainability, and we have real-world challenge shared by domain experts. And also we introduced the framework of design thinking. And we wish them to go through the design sprint at an early age to help them as a tool to create the solutions in a very short and intense period of time. And we also understand that this might be something very new. So we asked how we try to collect feedback from those participants, and they all most of them think that they will bring it back to the workplace or schools set up and to create this new kind of ideas that create from the workshop, they will try to adopt it. So we think it is quite useful for people or general public that have no design background to understand this kind of framework via this workshops that we collaborate and provided as a platform for them. And our initiative has been able to involve a number of parties from the institutions to government to corporate and also MIT alumni. And let's move on to the second part. I would like to introduce to all the university students that the upcoming opportunity about Urban Technology Week in this summer. So I have shared the framework of our project and mostly the how our node has been running different initiatives. But one of our major stakeholders are the young talents, university students from MIT and from Hong Kong. So this Urban Technology Week, can I get back to my slides? The 2 weeks of the summer program, I will be sharing is there is a time frame from student application. It will be ending this week. So while I'm waiting for the slide to reappear, please bear with me. Yes. So this year we have a great success. From last year, we worked with MTR as our industry partners. And this year we have 2 more industry partners. One is China Cam Group, and another one is Li and Feng under, and also Unify 3D. And again, this is a project that's sponsored by Innovation and Technology Commissions and our ecosystem partner and innovation partners. And this is will be a free workshop for university students to join. And the workshop will begin from June 3rd to 14th, 2 weeks, intensive week, with a competition and showcase on the 15th. So welcome everyone to join as a participant or also as a showcase participant if you're interested to learn about their outcomes. And now we are on this timeline to recruit Hong Kong cohorts, university students. The deadline is 19th of April for Hong Kong university students to join as a participant. And we will have the final showcase of the 15, which will have a chance to get a seed grant from Hong Kong Science and Technology Park. They are happy to sponsor the top team selected by the panel members to directly admit to their ideation program, which is a 1-year program designed to nurture the tech-focused entrepreneurs. And there is up to $100,000 for grab. So throughout this program, they will offer training, consultation, marketing, and also mentorship and co-working space opportunities. So if you are one of the top teams, it will be your chance to grab that honor and also that money. So we're looking to recruit 45 Hong Kong students, and with MIT students, we'll mix you into 10 teams. And for this showcase in mid of June, 15th of June. And well, we have been able to group together a good mix of students with architecture, city planners, engineer, computer scientists, and business people, creative people. So we last year there were more than around 50 students from more than 5 universities have joined as cohorts, and they have been have a very diverse background, which makes such a rich and great opportunity for you to know new friends and people around the world. And some more fun photos, but I think later our 3 young men will be sharing with us their experience with last year participations, and more will be shared by them, and also with mentors from the industry partners, and also we have site visits like this and talks to be happened, and this was last year orientation, and this is showcase in the final showcase. So if you're interested, don't miss the chance to apply it before this week. So again, there is more 100K in seed funding opportunity up for grabs. So thank you. So my sharing will end here, but coming up we will have Ki Nam, Max, and John to share their previous experience with us, and then we have Professor Reynold Chang from Hong Kong U to share his topic about the social innovative projects that he works with his students as a startup. And then we will have MIT DesignX, our collaborator from last year, to share about the DesignX design framework methodology that we will adopt in Hong Kong for our Urban Tech Week cohort. So again, welcome Ki Nam, Max, and John. The stage will be yours.
Okay, this is my slides. So I will go first. Hello, everyone. My name is Ling Xiao, and you guys can call me Max. Even though there are not many people, but we're really happy to be here to introduce some of our experience to you. So my major is urban design transport. I'm a master's student. My program is a 2-year program, so now is my 2nd year. So I participated in this Urban Tech Week in my last summer. So besides urban design, I'm a basketball guy, I'm a tennis guy, bodybuilding guy, and also city exploring. Can I get this? Yeah. In the last Urban Tech Week, our group with my teammate Ki Nam, we are the biggest winner. I mean, the biggest winner means we won the audience choice and the jury's choice. So we are the only team to win both awards in the final pitching. So these are our, very wonderful photos. And then I will show you some photos with um, my beautiful friendship. This is in a CUHK, in a John's home. And this is our beach time. And we have so many diverse talents with us, like this guy from MIT, and he's originally from Ecuador, but grew up at New York. And we have like this guy, he was growing up in Singapore, but now studying Hong Kong. And this guy, he is from Taiwan. All, super talents. And this is my group photo with Sunny. And this is our, Christmas date with my group roles. So welcome to any kind of new connection. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Max, my lovely teammate. My name is Kinam. I was also there in the program last year. I only have one slide. This is my LinkedIn profile. This is what I do. If you want to stay in touch with me, or because right now I'm very active on social media. After 1 year from the Urban Tech Week program, what I basically do is I try to stay up to date with the latest technology in the world, especially software and AI, and I share all of them on my LinkedIn profile, just like a little diary. So you will not see me posting about my achievement, but you will see me posting about the different technologies that I see are interesting. Yeah, so a little bit about like the Urban Tech Week program and my experience there. It's kind of obvious that you can see that we have a lot of universities. We also have a lot of nationalities, and we have a lot of disciplines as well. So three things that I feel like is very rare to see in Hong Kong, because oftentimes you see a lot of hackathons, you see a lot of competitions, you see a lot of scholarship that are university focused. And usually people would team up with, like their friends from their halls or from their classes. It's a great experience, but it's an experience that, does not allow you to really realize what's really out there in Hong Kong and also in the world as well. Because Hong Kong has so many international students, and also Hong Kong has so many international opportunities as well. So I think that if you are a student, I don't know if you guys are students, maybe your children are. You should encourage them to apply because it's one of the best opportunity I think there are in Hong Kong to work with really open-minded people from across disciplines and really learn about how to build innovative solutions to build a better city for Hong Kong. So I was there. After that, I grew a bunch, and right now I'm writing technology content on LinkedIn. I'm also trying to build different software tools as a self-taught web developer. So if you like to ask me about the program or ask me about anything about software or technology, this is my contact. Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, so my name is John. I'm from CHK, a graduating student studying information engineering. So I didn't prepare slides, so I'm gonna use math slides. As you can see here, this is me, and we have also Kinem and also Math also here. So one of the uniqueness of this program that I found is that you can attain a status of work-life balance, which I think is very ideal because like during the 2 weeks program, you got to attend many workshops, classes, lectures. But at the same time, after class, you can also got the chance to hang out with your friends. It's just like this photo is like one day after class, we just finished visiting a museum, and then we went to CHK for fun. And I took them for a CHK tour and also have lunch in the canteen. Besides this kind of fun experience, what I also want to emphasize is that how it's gonna different from the typical classes that you can get in your university, especially for local students like me. Mass and Kinam just this sharing, but like they are non-local students. So from a local student perspective, usually in class in CHK, what I observe is that most of the local students, they were just group with other local students to do projects. So they didn't get many chances to really work with and also mingle with other non-local students. Even though the class might have a lot of non-local students, but they are just kind of separate with each other. But in this program, you get a chance to actually work with those non-local students because you are forced to like group with that kind of non-local students. So this is a very precious opportunity for you to like immerse yourself in a unique learning experience. You can just stay in Hong Kong without going overseas, and then you can already work with other non-local students, which I think is some experience you can't get in a typical course in university. And one more thing I want to say is that, as you can see, this year the program also offers HKSTP co-ideation opportunity for the winning team. And I think this is really a great opportunity for you guys, even though if you might not be really super passionate about urban technology, but at least can still get a chance to. I mean, one thing I want to emphasize is that although the topic is urban technology, but you don't actually have to be very super passionate about the topic because what this program also offers is the entrepreneurial mindset and also problem-solving skills, which is actually universal to a wide range of topics. So you can utilize that kind of knowledge and mindsets, and then like do your own startups, especially if you have that kind of startup dreams. So I think it's a great opportunity for every person, even though if you are not super passionate in urban technology. So this is
And also like people who join the programs are actually very entrepreneurial already, like and very innovative. So what actually happens after the program is before the program, I was actually like quite lonely in Hong Kong because I only arrived here like 1 year ago. But then during the program, I met amazing people who I actually stay in touch, like and who are like the most entrepreneurial people I've met are actually from the program. And because I stay in touch with them right now, I have different projects, ideas in mind. I know immediately like who to contact. Or even if people in the program doesn't really fit like the topic that I'm working on, because like they from CUHK, some of them are from USD, some of them from Education University of Hong Kong. They know everyone like from Hong Kong essentially. I'm from this side of the island, but they from the other side of the island, right? So they know like covers essentially Hong Kong. So for example, like John, I don't know, like John is working on like a very interesting interest group where he gathers young people across Hong Kong and try to encourage them to build like their own startups. That's why he's talking about these things. So maybe he would love to share more about that.
also yes, it's just like Kinam just mentioned. I'm trying to like do some working on some projects to connect people who are interested in startups around Hong Kong. So I would have to say these the things that I am currently working on are kind of inspired by MIT Hong Kong Innovation Node because I got a lot of chances to meet many interesting people in this program. So one thing that I want to say is that from my perspective, even though I originally do not have any expertise about urban technology, but why I still choose to join this program is because I was thinking like what kind of people would be interested in this program. Not only the urban technology enthusiasts, but also some startup enthusiasts. They might want to do their own projects or just meet other like-minded entrepreneurial people. And that's why it's one of the motivation that I joined this program. And then actually, I really, in fact, met a lot of fantastic entrepreneurial people, just like Keenan. It's really inspiring, motivational, and yes, and this is what I gain from this program as well.
And oh, by the way, like he just hosted an event last week that connected me with another like founder for my new startup. So it's very effective. Yeah. Join the program and you'll be like him.
Can I ask a question for Sunny? Yeah, I have a question for other students who want to apply this program. Do you think what kind of characteristic are the most important that, I mean, for who want to apply this program? What kind of characteristics do you think are the most important for a student?
Well, I think the best showcase of the characteristics is here, diversity, right? You can see students that is more outgoing, initiate projects like Kinem, John, and Max, right? They they are the very uh, first one that in the group I asked them, oh, who would like to share the experience? And please private message me. And they are like instantly within 24 hours, they text message me. So this kind of initiativeness is very appreciated and also shown in the cohorts. And the dynamics of the last year's cohorts was awesome because of such. You don't really I didn't even know they went to the beach. So they self initiate many fun activities, sharing the good things about being a students in Hong Kong to the external students or foreign students like from MIT who have nothing know about or never been to this part of the world. So I very appreciate that diverseness and also inclusivity from the cohort. And what this is what we're looking for and exactly what we're would like you guys to be bond with. So I really appreciate. But maybe let's have a some questions from the audience that might be interested to join, and you can share your what you're working on right now and how do you think about being a participant in such a experience, different experience.
So I come in late, so perhaps again, can you summarize what are the valuable experience, challenges, and the joyful moment as well as the frustrating moment of the experience?
I think one of the most unique experience, especially compared to typical university courses, is that in this program you got a chance to meet a lot of non-local students. I mean, because I'm a local student, so I speak as from a local student's perspective. Because in typical course in university, usually we will just group with other local students, so we do not have the chance to immerse in an international environment. So this program actually provides me a lot of opportunity to learn from people from a different cultural backgrounds, which I think is very valuable to the future because I mean, I do enjoy work with international people, and one of the motivation is exactly because of this program. It inspired me a lot.
Yeah, to me, I think the most important thing is I get to know my level. I mean, when I study at HKU, I just know the student level in Hong Kong. But when I step into this program, I get to know the student level in very, very top university. I mean, MIT. I know what kind of a student can be an MIT student. I know the level, so I know my level. So it's kind of comparing with I mean, different peers, and then I can know myself more specifically. So this is, I think this program really taught me. Yeah.
So for me, I don't know about like I think like it's a very common experience for any student from any university if they go for a group project in the class. It's usually like a lot of like bad things could happen. Like a lot of members could be free riders. A lot of members could be like slacking off, right? And usually, if you are a little bit like self-initiative, then you'll be the person who carries the whole group, right? This is not the experience at the Urban Tech Week. So I was also expecting that because you know like I know like these people are very selective in who they allow into the program. So I know like these people are great, just like Max said. But also like I think like the thing that I did not expect is that it's very hard like working with people who are very talented and who have their own ideas and who have like you know like their ego, who very good at debating and putting up like evidence for their arguments. And so when you're in that environment, you have to really push yourself first, but you also have to control yourself, basically, because you are working with people from across discipline and from across backgrounds. And these people are great people, really intelligent. And I think like that really taught me that, because previously I always thought that, okay, I have to carry the whole group. So I will be using my ideas. This is how we're going to do it. But then like when I entered the Urban Tech Week, oh, these people have other ways to do it. And these are great ways to do it as well. And we really have to like absorb that and adjust my working style so that I can also improve and learn from them as well.
Great. Any questions from the audience? And what are the projects are you guys have been working on since then? I know Kinam has, your group has a very interesting idea and win for the award. Can you explain what is the project about and how do you go through that debate and come up with that idea, and then in the end kind of succeed, and yeah, what's the stage now of this project?
Oh, that's a long story. I don't actually remember how we came up with the idea, but the idea was basically we were working for the MTR, right? And the MTR is trying to improve the experience of passengers going on the MTR. So we pick we pick an audience, and we picked the elderly. And we think that the elderly experience on the MTR is not a great experience. So we were trying to work on a solution that would improve that. So we went through all these stages. The idea we came up with is basically, it's kind of like we come up with a badge system similar to the London Metro badge system. So in London, you have these blue badges for people with disabilities that basically say, could you lend me a seat? So if you wear these badges in the London Metro system, people automatically know that you probably need help and offer you a seat. So we come up with something similar for Hong Kong, but we give a twist to it. So we have two badges. We have badge for people who want to be volunteer and help elderly people out, and we have badges for the elderly people. So I think that we call the badge for volunteer, we call them ambassador badges, and we call like the badges for the elderly, we call them Voyager badges, because we want to honor the journey that they have been through in their lives. And the way we design the badges is very like reflective of the diversity in Hong Kong culture and historical values as well. And the next component is we design like a mobile app system. It's similar to Uber, where they connect like volunteers with Voyagers whenever they need help. And the MTR already has like a mobile app that caters to the elderly population. It's called MTR Care, and it basically has a very simple UI where you could get help like immediately. So that's how like that's basically our idea. Unfortunately, we did not decide to implement that idea. So the MTR like asked us whether or not we wanted to implement that. We put a lot of thoughts into it. It's a really nice idea, I think, as a marketing campaign. But in terms of implementation, we had some challenges that prevented us from deciding ultimately to pursue that idea. But I just threw the idea out there. If you think this is practical, I still think it's a great idea. And that could be realistic in a lot of ways. If you want to bring this idea to reality, I don't see why not.
So you mentioned the MTR mentors. How did they help and facilitate the brainstorming or the coming together the project? Do they help you
Yeah,
in some
It's,
ways?
it's like, so we worked with both from like, like from the planning ideation stage and also like from the technical perspective as well. So ideation wise, we were very struggling with coming up with like a solution for a population that we don't know well, like elderly people in Hong Kong. I'm not from Hong Kong and I'm not old, right? So how can I possibly understand them? But it like by working with like people like John who are from Hong Kong and Max who are older than me, like I actually like learned to like appreciate these um basically it talk to the audience. That's what the mentor asked us to do. And throughout like many days, we just eventually come up with like a simple idea, which is very similar to the London's existing innovation, but we twist it in a very Hong Kong way. And also like the mentors from MTR, we work with really high ranking people from the MTR. So I think like we got mentorship from the head of innovation from the MTR. So he was in charge of all the mobile apps that you guys use if you use the MTR. And he talked with us a lot about how to use like in-station navigation system. So basically using Bluetooth and Wi-Fi signals to locate like the phone, like within a very small amount of area, like the MTR station, and whether or not like our proposal was actually technically possible. So we talked a lot about that, and it's like actually like makes sense to have that information from the technical side as well.
Any supplementary notes from John and Max?
My project is Kinam's project. We are the best teammate, and we well the two men presenter in final pitching and help our team to be the biggest winner. So Kinam's project is my project. So
Can I ask a question? So, do you still hope to implement your project concerning the badge on MTR? I think it would be very valuable. I guess whenever I ride on MTR myself, I see kind of older people, perhaps pregnant lady or lady with small children. I think those people will definitely need a seat, so to speak. Yeah.
I think it's I agree with you. I think it's a really great idea, and I'm actually very proud to have come up with that idea together with my teammates. I also think that me and Max are not really the right people to actually carry out this idea because we don't know Hong Kong well and we don't know our target audience well. So in Hong Kong, there are actually like organizations that are working with the elderly a lot. I actually don't remember their names, unfortunately, but I know like there's a elderly support groups that organize, like for example, like taxi trips to help like the elderly adapt with their wheelchairs and then carry them to their required locations. So I think like these people are actually like, a lot more qualified than us in carrying out these idea. For me personally, because I'm more of a web developer and I'm interested in many different areas. And I feel like this area is not one that I'm particularly qualified for to carry out. But if you know, I talk about these ideas always. If you know like people who are this, I can like transfer them my materials, get them to conduct these ideas. In fact, I think like the MTR might be like taking our idea already and actually like find people to actually make it happen. Because you know like the MTR already has their badges that they sell as souvenirs, and those look like toys, right? And nobody really wants them. So if there's some really like interesting badges that are appealing, then I think like the MTR is putting efforts into doing this. Thank you for your question.
How about John? What was your project about? Let's just learn about it.
My project was focused on how to like alleviate the crowdedness inside the MTR station. I remember like one of the struggling point of doing this project is exactly how we can get the data to try to analyze the situation inside MTR is definitely pretty hard. And I remember we went to the MTR station several times and even tried to ask the passerbys or staff there. And I start realizing how difficult it was to like do interviews and collect information from the people, because like I realized even though the passengers themselves might not actually understand what they want or like the difficulties that they are facing. So this is something that I really deeply embedded in my memory.
So where are your teammates now, and who are them, and do you guys follow up after this program?
Well, my teammates, like one sad thing about my team is that like one of our teammates, he went to study master in the UK, so we didn't get many chances to reunion. But like hopefully after we finish our examinations recently, we'll get a chance to like meet up again.
But he's organizing events, so he invited me to his event last week. So he's meeting a lot of new people.
Great, thank you. So I really appreciate all the sharing with John, Max, and Kinlam here. They are from Hong Kong U and also UHK. And now I see the bonding very strong, and they still keep in touch with many good friends overseas and also local. So thank you for joining us last year and coming back this year to share. So we always welcome always welcome you to participate in different ways. If you see there's opportunity to explore new projects, always welcome to regroup yourself and come back to us. So, anyways, let's have a seat. Thank you for your sharing.
Thank you. Thank you.
So next, I would like to. Next, I would like to introduce our next speaker, Professor Reynald Zhang. He is the Associate Dean for Student Enrichment at Hong Kong U. And today, he is sharing a very interesting project that brings a lot of science, data science, AI technology into a very meaningful project for volunteer service. So his topic is HinCare, Intelligent Time Banking for Volunteer Service. And without further ado, I would like to invite Professor Zhang on stage to share his project with his startup and students that brings upon great impact for the society. Mr. Professor Zhang, please welcome.
Hello. Thank you very much for Sunny for a very excellent introduction. So I'm Reynald Zhang, and I'm currently a faculty member for Hong Kong U Computer Science. And here is a very interesting social related project that I would like to share with you. Even though actually my background is more on big data and data science, okay, but I think sometimes it's also good to have a break, okay, to try to see whether there is a chance that our knowledge can contribute to the society to do some meaningful work besides publishing papers. Okay, can you hear me? Yeah, it's better now, right? Okay, so so here I just want to give a brief introduction for our project. Okay, so here as you can see, what I'm interested about is to see whether there is a chance that IT can help some of the social sectors. So here, in particular, we are interested to know whether there is a chance that because of the very acute situations about elder care in Hong Kong, in which because Hong Kong is an aging society with a lot of people getting older and older, and yet they still have good health. Okay. On the other hand, okay, there is a problem in which there is a catch-up between the provision of services that are available to help the elders people. For example, here you can see that if the elders want to queue up for residential care, they have to wait for more than 38 months. Right, which is too long for elders. On the other hand, the aging issue is not going away. In fact, it's getting even more worse because, in fact, in 30 years of time, 2041, okay, you may already see that there is a trend that's more than 1/3 of the elder population in Hong Kong is more than 65 years old. Okay, so that means there is a very important problem here, because if we don't know how to deal with this problem, or we don't deal with that, sooner or later the society will drain out of resources on how to help the elders, to have a better life. Okay, so one way to deal with this problem is to see whether it is possible for us to leverage the community in Hong Kong to see whether we could, for example, encourage more citizens to become volunteers. Okay, so these people, if they have a chance or time to help the elders, maybe we don't need so many professional helpers, and yet we could still try to see whether we can have more sharing on the resources on the community in order to bring better services to the elders. So in this sense, we have been helping with different NGO to engage in different volunteering activities. One of the ways to encourage more volunteering is to use the so-called time banking. So I don't know if you have heard about time banking before, But basically, the concept of time banking is very simple. Everyone has an account, okay, just like our bank account, but this account stores our time that we have provide services to the community. So, for example, if you have service 1 hour to help the elders to bring her to the hospital, for example, then you gain 1 credit because of your 1 hour service. Okay? And then you can use this 1 credit to do some to exchange for other services or exchange for some gifts, etc. Okay. So basically, what we are doing is we are collaborating with different NGO people in order to find out whether we can design a good software for the elders, for the helpers, and also in general for users with some service needs, okay, in order to help them to do a better job. So here we introduced the project called Hin Care, okay, and later on I will explain what is Hin. Okay? What does HIN mean? Okay, but generally speaking, okay, this is an app which enables elder care recommendation. Okay, so although it is in Chinese, actually, okay, what is going to do is to basically allow the elders, okay, and the helpers to use this app to try to find a good matching between them. Okay, so this project has some background. Actually, it started in 2019, which is supported by the Midstream Research Project grant from ITF, and then now it is still ongoing, even though the project has finished. And recently, in fact, we also received a good donation, okay, to continue our development for the app for the next 5 years or so. Okay, so I think it's quite successful. So I would like to give some more illustration about what this app is doing. So basically, this mobile app, okay, allows a user to act as a service recipient. So if I want to find someone to help me, I can use this app to grasp of service. On the other hand, okay, this same user or other users can also be service provider. Okay, so that is to say, if I have some time and I know some expertise, for example, I'm very good at taking photographs. Okay, even though okay I cannot walk very well now, but I can take photographs. Okay, so is it possible for me to help some other elders, okay, to decorate their photos, okay, or to take some photos for them? Okay, so because it was designed for the elders, so we don't put a lot of sophisticated functionalities. Instead, it is designed with large fonts and spacing so as to help the elders to use the app. Okay, so for example, they can use the app to exchange for use their time credits to buy some other services, such as attending computer class. Okay, or okay, they can use generally the time credits that they have earned through the time banking, okay, to exchange for some other art or the pieces of art like this cup mat, for example, okay, developed by other elders. Okay, they can exchange for cookies made by elders, okay, and so on. So here I want to show an animation which shows the main feature app. There should be some background music. Right? Oh, it's showing now. Yeah. Okay, so this is a very brief introduction. I hope you now generally get some idea about this Hin Care app. Okay, of course, the mobile app is just one aspect of it, right? But we also need the NGOs to be able to manage the service behind it. Okay, because think about this, we are talking about a lot of people. Some of them they are elders, some of them they are just service recipients, some of them are helpers, and at the same time, we need people to manage these users, okay, who manage them, the NGOs. Okay, so that is why, okay, first of all we have to allow the NGO to conveniently set up this whole thing. Okay, So that is why, okay, we have to spend a lot of the time to develop a cloud-based service platform for the NGOs to manage the background, okay, to manage the back end of the system. Okay, so in particular, okay, after serving one NGO and giving them some app, okay, we soon find that, okay, many NGOs actually face similar problems. So that is why we revise a whole system architecture so that now, okay, if any NGO want to join our system, okay, they can just register an account, okay, and the NGO themselves act as a user of our system to subscribe to our system, sort of, okay. So that means we don't need to make an app for one NGO at a time, okay. So that is the main idea. So here, okay, we also want to make it as simple and easy for the NGO to manage the data if possible. So here, for example, it looks like some Excel spreadsheet, okay, which allows the NGOs to have a more detailed look, okay, at the records of all the users, and also update the records if necessary, okay. And in addition, okay, you can see that there are some data analytic things here, okay, which tells you, okay, how many time credits have been used by the user, okay, and what are the usage. And from this, okay, these data sometimes are very valuable for the NGO to analyze their needs, because different NGOs in Hong Kong have different focuses on their services. Okay, so say for example, one of the NGO, this one from Zheng Guan O, okay, and here is a list of the services, and we want to know what kind of services provided and NGO are most on demand, and we find that among all these services, okay, mobile phone learning, okay, and the cognitive stimulation therapy are the services that are most popular among the users. Okay, and then for another NGO that we have supported, okay, they may have a different profile. For example, in this Christian Family Service Center, another very famous NGO in Hong Kong, they are more concerned about telephone condolences, and the elders also want to find people to accompany them for services. So if we are able to collect this data, okay, indicating what are the types of the services, okay, that are the more popular among the volunteers and the elders, okay, then the NGO can optimize their services to try to see where they should put more resource in supporting these activities. Okay, and then another interesting issue, okay, behind all the system things, okay, is some intelligence behind it. Okay, because in our app, actually, we allow the user to select the helpers he or she wants to provide the service. So if we take a look at this screenshot, okay, what it is listing is the list of different volunteers that can be chosen by the user. Okay. However, okay, a user may not even know this person. Okay, or the user may just remember that, okay, one of the persons who have helped him or her before. Okay, but that will be very limited in the choices. So then the question is it possible for us to have a sorting or arrangement of these helpers, okay, so as to arrange the helpers who are the most likely one to be the best match for the elders in order to provide the best services to them. Just like in Google, okay, or in other search engine, when you are looking for some web pages, in fact, they also do some sorting so that the most likely pages that may meet your interest will pop up first in the first page, right? So that is why we also want to see if it's possible for us to try to push good volunteers into the top of the list, okay, rather than requiring the user, who may be an elder user, to scroll a long list of volunteers in order to find the best one, or to find the one he or she remembers. Okay, so this get into a little bit more academic and more related to my interest on how can we use data to do some intelligent application. So in particular, this problem I just want to introduce to you is the very popular problem known as item recommendation. Okay, so what is item recommendation? In fact, use item recommendation every day now, right? Because if you want to do any e-shopping and e-commerce, or when you are watching Netflix or Disney movies and things like that, right? So usually they will come up with some popular list, right? So how can we get this? Okay, basically the question is, when you have a large number of products or movies, you want to see which product should you recommend to the user, right? If you are recommending the right product to the user will be attracted to buy more, right? So that is a basic commercial opportunity. on why we want to do item recommendation. So in fact, in the past few years, there are a lot of this kind of studies, okay? There are even conferences just focus on item recommendations. However, okay, it is interesting to see whether we can also borrow this idea to use in our setting, in which when we have a list of helpers and a list of elders, is it possible to treat the helper, okay, as something, okay, that we can recommend to the elders, okay, in order to find the best way to match them, so that the elders doesn't have to worry about what kind of helpers should try to select, right? Okay, so how can we do this? Okay, so there are many ways to do recommendation, okay? But in my research, I mostly focus on the so-called heterogeneous information network, okay? So that is why I try to see whether it is possible for us to use heterogeneous information network, or HIN, in order to do this recommendation. So what is an HIN, or heterogeneous information network? So to illustrate, okay, I have drawn a toy example here, which try to tell you basically it is the relationship between the helpers and the elders. Okay, how are they related? Maybe they are friends already, but more likely, okay, we're interested in these connections. For example, you can see that this helper is connected to these elders because he or she has provided nursing services. Okay, and then this helper provide companion services to these elders. Okay, and each of these elders and their helpers, they also have their own attributes, talking about what are their occupations, genders, age, etc. So with all this information, this is called heterogeneous information network, because we have a lot of different kinds of informations, and at the same time, it is a graph or network because it connects different nodes representing these helpers or elders. So our goal is to use this HIN to find out what are the good relationships in order to find what is the best helper. For example, if I pick this elder, I want to know which helper is the best for this person. And I use this HIN to help us to do a better job. Okay, so our system does have this kind of HIN in order to help us to provide a good matching. Okay, so I don't want to get into the detail of how that is done. So let me just show you some interesting results, okay, based on our system. Okay, so first of all, okay, we are interested in the correlations between the ages of the requester, okay, the help requesters, and also the helpers. Okay, so we plot this correlation graph, okay, between the helpers and the requester, and we find that a very interesting pattern is that for most of the cases, okay, the age of the requester is usually very old, okay, more than 80 to 90, okay, but the helpers are younger, okay. In fact, they are called young olds, okay. Young olds means those people who just age about 60 to 70, okay. So this means that, okay, our time banking system, okay, is able to attract plenty of helpers who still have a lot of energy to help, even though they may be considered as elders, okay. Yeah. And also, we want to have another side effect of the system is to see whether it is possible for us to encourage more people to help, okay, even though maybe they are considered old already, okay, they may retire after 60, okay, but retiring after 60 doesn't mean that they're useless, okay. Besides, okay, maybe the health may become a little bit worse, but at the same time, they could still serve, okay, and provide their expertise to help other people. And then we also want to see what is the growth of the number of users in our system. I think this is very impressive. Okay, we start from the very modest beginning, in which we have only about 200 users, okay, serving one NGO. But after several years of development, okay, actually 180, okay, we see a significant growth of the number of users, okay, to more than 8,000 already, okay, and so to just give you a number of growth, okay, we can see that there are already 45 times, okay, number from our first work. Okay, so that means our system is really attracting more and more NGOs. And of course, besides the user base, okay, we are also interested in how many time credits are exchanged. You know, the time credits are exchanged when I, for example, I provide a volunteering activity, okay, or I want to request for service, so I have to use my time credit to buy services or other goods. So, in fact, okay, we also see a very huge growth, okay, in the past 3 years. And interestingly, okay, among these years, okay, actually our system also have some decline of the usage of time credits. So that is why during the 2 years of COVID, okay, we only did 4 million minutes of transaction. But just in the first 10 months of 2023, okay, we have recovered significantly, in which we already obtained 8.6 million minutes. And then, okay, you may wonder what this means, okay, to us, okay. Well, you say it's such a large number of minutes. What does this mean? In fact, in social science, okay, people can also convert time credits into money. Okay, so a very simple way to do this is to simply divide the number of minutes that have been served by the minimum salary per hour. Okay, so that means, okay, if we divide this 10.5 million minutes, okay, which have been served so far, we are already saving the money of 7 million Hong Kong dollar from the society. Because when we are doing these volunteering services, okay, the service requester doesn't need to pay anything, right? So in fact, okay, this amount of minutes can be translated into money saving. Okay, then this is the so-called social capital. Okay, that can be saved, okay, for the society, and we hope to get even more in the later development. So this is basically, okay, our collaboration so far. We have been working with more than 14 NGOs now, okay, and then also recently we got a new donation, which even allows us to support a new development of our web or of our HinCare app, okay, to extend its services. For example, we are discussing the possibility of trying to have time currency, okay, which allows a time credit earned in one NGO to be spent in another NGO. Okay, and we are also trying to do much more extension, okay, because now we are able to significantly increase the size of our team, okay, to serve more users. So do we have time, or we can? Okay, so in the next few slides, I just want to talk a little bit more about my other projects in the related to social care. So this is another project that we have collaborated with Hong Kong Jockey Club, okay, in which this is a very large scale project. Okay, actually, okay, it has it is almost like a $149 million project. Okay, so what we're doing is we want to support the family care centers in Hong Kong, okay, in order to do data analytics and do service innovations. So basically, okay, we are collaborating with all the NGO-based family care centers in order to deal with the problems that the many families may have to face. Like, for example, suicide cases, okay, like, for example, child abuse, okay, or divorce, okay, different kinds of sad family problems these NGO people have to serve. So basically, if you look at these family care sectors, okay, about 40% of the family centers in Hong Kong are supported by the NGOs, and the 60%, okay, are the government owned. So we are serving the centers belonging to this 40% sector. Okay, so in fact, our first 4 years is to first 4 years effort is to trying to develop a system, okay, which can be used by the family care centers to collect the data and handle the logistics. Okay, now in the second phase, what we are doing is we try to develop a data analytics system in order to allow the NGO users, okay, such as the center supervisors or the social workers, in order to see how the data can support their daily work. Okay, so we, for example, okay, allow the NGO users to try to plot these figures, okay, like pie charts very easily. And in addition, okay, we also want to develop some novel tools for them to use. Okay, so here is a very simple demonstration, okay, in which, okay, the NGOs can select, okay, based on the duration of the cases that they want to handle, and then also they can use different attributes such as marital status, education level of the users, in order to try to find out those problems that they have encountered. And after some of the steps, I think I will just skip this, okay? Select the age and the problems and so on, okay? And then in the end, okay, we will be able to output this kind of trees, okay, which say that, okay, if these are the cases that happen in certain year, for example, then the NGO may be interested in how are the ages distributed. And maybe, for example, in this case, most of the cases, okay, are between 30 to 49, okay, and also most of them live in public housing. Right? So with these kinds of case diagrams, right, then the NGO can have a better understanding, okay, about what are the cases or the most of the problems that their clients are facing, so that they can develop suitable programs, okay, or services to support this kind of use. Okay, and in fact, recently we are also playing around with AI to see if we could, for example, do a better job in developing some chatbot things, etc., in order to further allow the NGO people to use this system. Because the problem is that these NGO people are very busy with dealing with the front line. Okay, they have no time to sit in front of a computer to use the data. But at the same time, okay, this data will be it be a pity not to use them. Okay, so that is why our job is to try to develop a system, not for us actually. Okay, but for the NGO. Okay, we have to try to have a lot of meetings with these NGOs. Okay, 26 centers in order to ask them what they really need from the data. Okay, how can the data analysis that we know so much can be helpful to them? Okay, so which is not easy at all. Okay, and besides that, okay, we also want to make use of open source data. Okay, by open source data, we mean that these data are not private to the center, but they are more open. Like for example, the government actually publishes yearly surveys on the divorce cases, for example, okay, or family abuse, okay, or financial problems. So there are a lot of data that are published by the government, okay. But how can we make use of this open source data together with the data that is private to the NGO is very important, okay. And if we are able to have a good repository to put all this data together, then we have a chance that this data can reinforce each other in order to give the social workers a better view about the district or about overall, okay, what is the trend? Is it really, for example, student suicide, okay, cases are increasing in general? Is that also affecting the district, for example? How is the student suicide related to the financial problem of the family? That's very complicated, actually, okay? But without data, okay, it is hard to tell whether there is evidence among this relationship. And of course, besides developing the system, we also engage in a lot of training sections for the NGO because, again, okay, we are the software people. We develop a system for them, but if they don't know how to use it, okay, sooner or later, okay, no one will use it, okay. So that is why we also spend a lot of time, okay, sometimes using Zoom meetings, sometimes we have to visit the NGOs in order to teach these social workers how to use the system and also help them to understand the importance of data. Okay, so because of this different engagement, we are lucky to get some awards. Okay, in the past few years. Okay, in ICT, for example, and also Hong Kong Youth Knowledge Exchange. Okay, so I think it's overall it's a very rewarding adventure to me because in the past I just write or publish papers. Okay, I'm concerned about is playing with some very small data set and trying to develop new techniques. But after I talk to these people, I find that many of these methods, okay, and actually are not very useful to them because they don't even understand the basic idea. So, but on the other hand, they are really experts in their own domain. So I hope that although, okay, this talk is not about urban planning, okay, not really related to this, but I hope that in the end you can actually find that maybe there are some cross sections or relationship between this kind of problems, right? Because definitely speaking, okay, urban aspect cannot be totally forgotten here, right? Even though we are dealing with elder care or family care, but how can urban planning can also be helpful to provide another aspect or view of data is very important. Okay, so I think this I think a good time to stop, right? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Chang. We are very grateful to have this sharing to understand how apply science into social good. Especially, I think it's totally relevant to the today's panel discussion because we would like to see how we can innovate ideas and from very complex research into applicable ideas to the society for good. So we'll have a quick break. We will set we before the after the talk from Gilad. Gilad is our Design X partner. So please, Professor Chen, you can join the audience. And so for online audience, Gilad, I would like to introduce Gilad Rosenbach. He is from MIT, and he's currently executive director of MIT Design X. And well, his talk is about execution of great ideas, because ideas are often very easy to come up with, but how can students and people, entrepreneurs, can take the risk of creating actual solution, even products or ventures? At this MIT Design X, they work with MIT students around the world, and also lead them through a venture design curriculum that allows them to take action and deploy new solutions. So in this talk, he will share the methodology that they used at MIT Design X that guides their entrepreneurs and see how new successful ideas can come upon become new startup, just like Professor Chang has been doing himself with one or many others. And Gilad himself is an architect and urban planner with more than 2 decades of experience in community development, urban tech, and design of things, big and small. As I mentioned, he is the executive director of Design X, the virtual venture accelerator of the MIT School of Architecture and Planning. Design X launches new startup creating innovation in design, cities, and built environment. And also, we collaborate last year with the Urban Technology Week program, and he will be sharing with us the methodology that guide the students or the program participants through the journey to build the innovative and successful startup from simple ideas. So after that, we will have a quick panel discussion with Professor Chen and myself. So let's hear from Gilad. Thank you.
So, like Sunny said, I'm both an architect and a planner. And 7 years ago, I was hired by MIT to basically launch a new program called Design X. And so the founder of our program, Dennis Frenchman, who was a professor of mine back when I was studying urban planning, said we need to create something new at the School of Architecture and Planning. We have so many amazing ideas that students are working on, right? They're learning how to design, they're learning how to for people who need buildings, or people who need different elements of a city, or transportation, housing, environment. And they're coming up with ideas and presenting them as students, and then they leave school and get a job, right? And then those ideas usually end up getting lost, because you get a job, you end up doing what your boss asks you to do, not what you necessarily want to do. And only a few years later, when you have perhaps more confidence or the ability to make decisions, you kind of forgot some of those ideas. And he said, we got to change that. We have to make sure that if people have an idea when they're in school, that they can turn it into action themselves, that they can become the entrepreneur and not perhaps wait for somebody to read their research paper and do it years later. So we're trying to advance design, we're trying to advance innovation coming out of our school, and really coming out of the whole institute. So, and I'll get into that a little bit, that we started, no, that's strange, it worked before. I'll just press a button. Hold on. There we go. So we started in the School of Architecture and Planning, and now by being part of the Morningside Academy for Design, we have sort of a broader reach across MIT. Even though we've always had students from engineering, and in our first cohort, in fact, we had a biology student, John Oxendorf earlier mentioned BioBot, that came out of our program, who came up with this new startup, which I'm going to mention a few slides down, so I won't tell you more yet. And now we're really looking across the Institute for the ideas and the students who come as teams into our program to create new startups. And just jump ahead here. We're looking for people from all backgrounds and with different ideas, not just what you would consider perhaps straight up design. It's not just about coming up with a new way to build a building. That's one thing. It's not ability. That's a strong second thing. But we also of educating, of promoting health, of or even toys for children to play with. Right. This is all. We can find innovation in things big and small. I know Sunny mentioned that in my initial bio, and it's really to think that we need to design things that are this small, a little clicker that we press to change the slides on our computers. At the same time that we need to come up with solutions for transportation across a gigantic city. It's important to understand that we can't just come up with one master plan for everything. We need lots of people to be working on many little things, and then together we end up coming up with solutions. We started working really right in our building, building 7, if anybody is from MIT. And then we realized, okay, we got to look a little bit beyond, definitely beyond building 7. We have to look across all the buildings at MIT. And then quite quickly, we actually saw that we have to look around the world, not just that our students who come from around the world at MIT can work in Design X, but how can we go outside of our building? It's really important. So we've been doing this now in all the places you see on the screen here, including Iceland, Italy, and in Mexico City at least. And this has actually made it really enriched our program, because when we go outside of our building, we meaning the people behind MIT Design X, who I'll introduce you to in a minute, we learn more about what's going on in the world. We find out about new ideas, and we're able to share that with our students. And we expect that from our students as well. What we always tell all the students who come through our program is you have to share your ideas. Right? If you have a great idea and you just think, well, I've got to keep it quiet because I don't want somebody to steal it, then you're not going to actually get somebody else to give you new information that's going to help you. So it's not about keeping a secret and hoping that 5 years later you come out of stealth mode and hey, I solved the problem. If you work that way, unless you're coming up with some super new drug, that you might want to keep secret until you develop that idea. Fine. But otherwise, what we're doing in the built environment is not a secret, and we need to work together collectively. And it's not about the idea. It's really important. It's not about the idea that is going to change the world. It's about the implementation of that idea. It's what you do with the idea. Because if you don't do anything with it, it's just an idea. I had 10 hotel and coming here. I haven't done anything with them yet. Hopefully I'll do something with one of the ideas I've had over the past few years. We'll see. Until that happens, it's just an idea. Until you turn it into an action, which means either a new venture or a new program or service or process within an existing company, it's just an idea. So that's a really important thing I want to convey to people, that you discuss and you talk and you collaborate, and many people can work on the same idea and have various solutions for it. And it's not about competition about who's going to make the most money from it. Although, and I'm going to mention this in 2 slides now, sorry, it's a little bit small here, but there's a few numbers. And you don't need to read what's on the text. That's for me. I'm just going to tell you. But what the numbers represent here, first of all, how many people participate in our programs. And again, we wanted not just to talk to students in our school, which includes 240 students in our school or in various programs that we do one-on-one. It also includes 3,000 people that we've been working with online every year. So including the 100 people that we've been meeting online over the past 2 days. We've also had another symposium last year where we had about 1,500 people online. We also do online courses, and all this together means that we get our information and maybe some inspiration or knowledge shared that people can do something with it. We've also had about 120 plus teams come out of the program, and these are either new ventures or ideas that maybe have gone back into research and will percolate into a venture pretty soon. A few more numbers. So I mentioned, okay, we're not in competition. It's not about who's going to come up with the next big unicorn. It'd be great if somebody does, and that helps the idea have more impact. We're really impact driven. We want to make sure that people come out with ideas that actually will transform the way we live and make our world better. That is definitely our ethic. However, you need money sometimes to do that. You need people to invest in you or give you a grant, whether it's the government funding you or it's in a VC who's going to provide you the money so you can grow your company. And we've seen that now. We've had over $107 million. We just finished our last survey like 2 weeks ago, so this is fresh, and I can stand behind these. $107 million has been invested in teams that have come out of the MIT program, based at MIT. From various other programs, there's even more. The valuation of those companies is labeled at over 300 million, and over 500 jobs have been created. So just to give you a return on investment at MIT, we've given out $750,000 in grants to the teams that have come through our program, and that $750,000 has leveraged another $107 million and created. When I talk to the provost, or when my faculty director talks to the provost, she can give that information. It's important to have these numbers. Where do we do the work? Right, we work, like I said, with entrepreneurs, either on campus or in various programs. We also do work in corporate innovation. So we work who also will take this methodology, which I'm going to talk in a minute, and it kind of draws on what Svava introduced yesterday, Svava Grunfeld, our faculty director, and also social innovation. So there's three ways of making an impact, of making a change. It's either as coming up with a brand new idea, and you, the entrepreneur, or a group of entrepreneurs working together to create something. It is working within a company, what sometimes is called intrapreneurship, right? You're inside already, but creating something new. Or it's one of those two, but applied in a social setting, right? So the goal is not to create profit, but it's purely to create more public good. And we've seen, we had both John and also Steve Weichel showing the companies or the people that are actually succeeding and doing what they're doing. That means they've made the headlines, and we've seen a lot of our teams from MIT doing that, right? And so a couple of Hosta, one of the teams that Steve mentioned, came out of MIT DesignX. Lamar, who was on his list as well, came out of MIT DesignX last year. And we're really proud of these people, and we're proud of the awards they're getting. Again, these awards represent the impact, right? So it's not actually about the money that they've raised. It's about the impact that BioBot, which I'm going to give you a full details about in a few minutes, has done, or Kipu, Bandhu, or Roofscapes. So Roofscapes and BioBot, I'm going to tell you a little bit more in a couple minutes. Bandhu and Kipu, I'll actually tell you a little bit right now. They are both for-profit social innovation companies. And what I mean by that is the reason they're in business is to make sure that people with lower incomes have better lives. But they're not doing this through as an NGO or as a nonprofit. They're actually making profit while they do this. And that enables them to have control, to grow, and to actually have more impact. They made a decision. Do we go one way or the other? I'll start with Bandhu. It's based in India. It was created by a couple students at MIT, that actually was their thesis. So it was a planning student, one of the co-founders, and his thesis was, how can, or maybe start off with a question, why are people in some of the lowest income strata of society in India stuck there. How come they can year after generation not escape this? And he discovered, the 150 million people, mostly men in India, travel every year. This is a staggering number. 150 million men go from smaller villages and towns to the bigger cities to usually work in construction, and then a year later move home. At the end of this time, they made a little bit of money for their family, but weren't getting anywhere. And he said, wait a minute, how are these people every year almost starting from scratch? They have no agency or leverage to improve their jobs every year. So he created, I'll kind of fast forward, he created basically a LinkedIn for migrant workers, if you think about it. First of all, in India has amazing cell phone coverage, and it's very cheap. So everybody has smartphones. So even the most poor people in India have smartphones with extremely good plans. So there wasn't an issue of technology for people to have a device in their pocket. And on this device now, through Bandhu, they register as whatever trade that they're in, and they keep track of every job that they've done, and they can now compete for jobs, right? So the construction company who has to hire 200 people for a project, bricklayers, plumbers, electricians, whatever, they can now not go to how it used to be, you'd go to the street corner and you'd find people and you give them 100 rupee to work for a week. Instead of doing that, it's all computerized. It's all digital, right? You just put out, I need to do this. This is my budget. And you end up getting people who will accept that job. So the actual wages go up a little bit, but they're charging the developers for this. And the developers are happy because they're getting better people and they're getting them quicker. It's not in their interest to pay as little as possible. It's their interest to get a project done with the best time and with the best profit, and if they care, at the highest quality. So he actually found this way to build this system. What Keepa is doing is providing microloans to people who need small loans in South America. And what they discovered there was that there's people don't have any credit rating. Right? They can't go to the bank and say, okay, this is what I'm doing, and this is how I've been, how much profit I've made over the past few years. So they've actually created the system where they can create a credit background. They can show how much they've sold in their store or how well they've managed their finances and get a better rate of a loan. So those are those two, for example. So how do they get there? How do these 4 companies and the other companies that have come through our program get to where they're going? Well, they went through this program at DesignX, and if you were watching or if you saw this yesterday, Svava introduced this squiggly line diagram. And the squiggly line diagram is basically, you start from left to right, and you spend as much time at the beginning figuring out what is the problem. What is the problem that migrant workers are having? What is the problem that people who can't get loans are having? It's not they can't get loans. The problem is that they have no way of showing that they have an economic background. With BioBot, the problem is not that we don't have the technology to mine our sewers. The problem was we have health issues in the city that we don't know where the problem exists. Right. So the idea was to spend as much time as possible understanding the problem, and then we go into a 4-stage program at DesignX. Understand, solve, envision, and deploy. And I'm going to explain those 4 right now. So this is our program, right? It kind of fits into, I'm sorry if you can't see it very well, but I'll describe everything. Probably online, you can see it a little better because you're right in front of the screen. But our program has these 4 phases, and then we built into these 4 phases 4 modules into each phase. And the point here is that you don't go through, one by one, check it off, and you're done at the end. You actually have to go through these, and then you have to go back and redo them every so often. You might recycle some of these modules the entire lifetime that you're building a business, and as you're operating it as well. It's not a linear program. Having said that, you do start at the beginning. You start with this process of understand. And the idea, again, how do we turn that idea into action? We go through the 4 phases here. Understand is understanding both what is the problem that people have, what are the opportunities that you need to address, and then also at the same time understanding why are you doing this? Why are you deciding to spend the next 10 years of your life perhaps developing a solution and creating a startup or going into a program that's going to absorb all of your time and energy. So it's a little bit introspective as well as looking at the problems that you're solving. Solve, well, as it sounds, this is where you start to come up with a solution. This is where you come up with a problem solution fit. Actually, let me use the next slides to address it properly. I talked about understand, solve. In solve, you start to actually apply a solution. Now, we all tend to come up with solutions very quickly. Like, okay, well, I have a great idea. This is how I'm going to solve the problem. And so what we do with DesignX, say that's great. And you even apply into the program with a problem and a solution. We look at the problem, knowing that the solution is going to change many times, right? But we want to see that you're on to something. Is this worth solving? So then when you come to the second phase of our program and you start actually trying out different solutions, you start to measure and say, okay, will this, is there a right fit? Will this actually work? Right? Is there some sort of feasible, and if Tony Hu yesterday spoke about feasibility, desirability, and viability. So obviously the desirability is one of the first things that comes in understanding that there's a need. And then in solution, we start to look at the feasibility. And then in the following stage, in vision, it's a lot of the viability, right? Will this work as a business? And the answer might not be clear from the beginning, that there is a way of generating revenue. If you don't have revenue, you can't operate a business. And if you don't have a profit, eventually, you can't operate a business. Right? You can start off with the loans and with investment, but at some point there has to be break even and actually profit. Otherwise, your business will fail. In fact, a nonprofit will also fail. You don't have to make money, but you have to break even. So there has to be, and what we focus on mostly is the revenue. Right? Is somebody going to pay for what you're doing? And actually going back to solve, what we do there is start to develop the value proposition. Why would somebody pay for your solution? It's not just a matter of, well, it's great, you'll love it. It's really, it would change the world if you paid for this. Well, we want to see the metrics, right? How is this going to improve my life, and is there a value for it? Either a monetary value or a social value that you kind of have to put into measure. There's only a certain amount of resources around, if somebody's paying for it, that you're going to get a good return on the investment. You personally, because you're buying something. Right? If I buy a pair of jeans, well, I need a pair of jeans because I need pants. I want certain pair of jeans if I want to feel better about myself. Right? So there's different ways of measuring value. I won't get into the whole thing now because that takes 4 hours to explain, but that's part of the program. So in Vision, we start talking about the business model, or the revenue model, where you get the money. And we also talk about the financials. What are you going to spend it on? How do you create the business? We also talk about organizational design. Who do you work with? Because if you're creating anything, if you're an entrepreneur, you have to work with other people. Nobody builds anything by themselves. Steve Jobs did not create Apple by himself. He did not create the iPhone by himself, right? There were hundreds of people, thousands of people involved, not just building it and making it, but also in the decision making. Turns out one person sometimes shines above the others, but they're not alone. And so whatever you do, it's not alone. And then the final stage is deploy. And in deploy, after you know what you're doing, you know why you're doing it, you know what you're going to do, and you understand the viability, then you got to figure out, okay, well, it's almost a hard work at this point, but it's hard work based on much harder work earlier, is what is the plan going forward? So the biggest thing here is developing a plan for the future. It's going to take me 6 months to do something. It's going to take me 1 year to achieve this. I need to enter a certain market. I need to build something. And then once you know what you want to do, then you have to figure out, who do you need? Because again, you're not alone. Who do you need to build it? Who do you need to market it? How much is it going to cost? right? So if you want to deploy and build something to scale, you want to make 1,000 units of something, 10,000 units of something. Start off with one, by the way, but let's fast forward a little bit. I need another 10 people on my team. I need to pay them another $1 million. I need to make partnerships with certain people. If you don't know that you need to do all this, it's going to be very hard and you're just going to struggle more. So that's a big part of deploy. And once you have that in place, you can start to look for funding. Whether it's, again, not everybody needs VC funding. You might just need to get a short-term bank loan. But at least you show the bank, this is the plan. If you are getting funding, then the funders, the investors want to see, okay, what's the plan? We know it's going to take 5 years, 7 years, 10 years before you have the what's called the exit, right? But they want to see what the plan is. And then the whole thing is packaged up in something we call storytelling. And I'm actually going to show you this as well, but storytelling is really what I'm doing now. I'm telling you what we do. I have to show you the whole story, I can't just give you one piece of it. I have to build up the reason why you're going to why you need to create a solution and how this is going to work. And I want you to be part of this. I want you to be engaged and to buy into my idea. Because the more people buy into your idea and into your solution, the better chance of success you have. And again, that's the whole point here, is to reach a point of success for your idea to turn into an actual idea, into an actual venture or new product. And then what we do, really running out of time. What we do is we have a great online tool set to help people do this. But let me actually just jump into, I went the wrong way. I'm going to jump here just for a second. Okay, you met some of the team yesterday, and I told you about one program, a couple of teams. Let me just give you one more example here of a team called Tulu. And what Tulu does is they realize there's a problem. A lot of people live in small apartments in cities, and they don't have the ability to have a vacuum cleaner or a 3D headset or a big rice cooker, perhaps, and they don't need it, right, all the time, especially not a VR headset, right? I need it once a week. Vacuum, I need it once a week. Why do I own it? Why can't I just go downstairs and use my phone and take it out and use it for 10 minutes and return it? So that's what you're seeing here. Vacuums happen to be one of the biggest sellers for this company, but they have all these other things that they've added, and it's created this new amenity for apartment buildings. So it started off from something very, very tiny. I saw this company from the moment the idea came to where they are now, which is in, I think, 80 buildings on 3 continents. So it's pretty amazing how quickly it happened. BioBot, this is the one that's working with understanding, using wastewater epidemiology, so taking samples from the water in the sewers below our feet, in order to identify what diseases are around us, right? They apply this, guess what, to COVID. They started this company right before COVID, and then COVID happened, and it actually was, in a weird way, great for them. This company went from 2 women at MIT to 140 employees now, and they're working with the CDC in America to collect information about 100 million people. Right? This is the data. You can actually go to biobot.io online, and you can see they have not real time, but it's updated weekly. What's happening with COVID? There was actually a big. It was pretty bad again back in March. It was actually worse than it was for 2 years, but then it went down. Yeah, so I think we're okay. This is in the United States. Anyhow, I'm going to actually turn it off. I can just give you examples for the next couple hours, and I can talk to some of you over lunchtime. But I'd actually love to maybe just pass it along to the audience if there's any questions.
Welcome, everyone, again. So thank you, Gilad. We will have a quick 2 minutes break before we go to the moderations between a conversation between me and Renaud, and also online audience, we will come back in 2 minutes.
Hello, testing.
Testing. So yeah, let's begin with the panel discussion. So thank you all for joining us this whole afternoon with these different speakers about ideations and cohort sharing about last year's experience as a student perspective. And also Professor Zhang has been sharing with us this very interesting hint care startup that he worked with his students. So I would like to bring this discussion time about to revolve around the experience that Gilad have shared and also Professor Chang has shared, particular in how you guys work with young startups, which create social impact for good. So we know that in Hong Kong, there's many great international renowned standing research universities. And also, this forms a very good basics for Hong Kong to become an innovation powerhouse. But students often worries about their career pathway after graduations. So but still, there's students that would like to seek different pathways to contribute to the society at large. So how would you, as a teacher and also mentors and also a researcher, working across this different sectors, how you help with the students to initiate such pathways, or what is your initial adv- advice for them?
Well, I think as a student, I think you will have a lot of opportunities and room to try to develop something new, which interesting, right? Because I think one of the main issues is that in our engineering curriculum, for example, students are already very packed with a lot of courses, right? So how can they still find more time to work on something interesting? Well, I think, of course, this that has to come with fundamentally the patient is very important, right? If interested in some subjects, for example, computer science, right? Why you want to go into computer science is probably because you may want to acquire some programming skills, okay, or other kinds of engineering skills, so that you can, in the end, okay, do something new and interesting, right? So I think patience is very important, and also attendance to news and observation. And just like some of the projects we watch here, sometimes you are just interested in something, right? Like for example, wastewater. Okay, you want to detect some diseases, and then suddenly COVID-19 comes, and that becomes your opportunity, right? So I think regardless of what happens outside, I think it's important to first ask yourself what are you interested in, right? And if you're interested in something, okay, then you think that this is very important and useful, and just try to do it, right? Even though I know you are always worried about GPA, right? I think I'm a student before, of course, I'm also worried about grades, okay? But at the same time, I think nowadays, as more the improvement of the curriculum, for example, will encourage also more participation in projects, which will be kind of a very important incubation of ideas. Okay, so that's even after graduation, you may still find a patient to do it. And for example, in many curriculum, okay, in engineering or the place here, for example, we also require students to do final year projects. Okay, and here okay, in computer science in our department, for example, the students are encouraged to try to propose their own projects. So these days, okay, and instead of assigning a problem to the students from the teachers, okay, actually the students approach us after they have some ideas, and our role becomes how to support them, okay, how to give them some advice so that they can find a good direction themselves. Okay, if you want me to talk about a little bit about my project, which I introduced in the presentation, actually this project is not initiated by the students. Okay, it is because of some connection between me and my friend who has been doing this volunteering and time banking app himself. Okay, and then we find that maybe there is an opportunity for us to do it better. Okay, so that is why we write some grants together, and after that we got funding from the government. So it's not really a startup, okay, I have to say. Okay, so instead it is more like a project, okay, which is incubated in the university environment. Okay, but now I've also want my project to be more encouraging students, okay, to participate. So it's a different model actually. Okay? But I think for students, okay, I think you should also look at different entrepreneurship startup opportunities. Okay, in our university, I think in many universities in Hong Kong now, they have some funding, okay, for the students to do startup. Okay, which if you can present them a reasonable proposal, telling them whether there is a opportunity for your growth of your company or your startup. Okay, whether you can break even after a few years, for example, right? Then usually they will give you some funding, and that will be a good startup. But I think entrepreneurship opportunities are good for students because first of all, okay, they start after graduating from universities. They are not much family burden, right? Then okay, it is worth to taking the risk, right? Even if it is not a success, I think you can still gain some experience, which allows you to find a better job, for example.
Yeah, that's a very good point. They have lots of opportunity to test out their ideas during their education and also right after their graduation. But in what sense they should allow themselves to participate in this kind of risk taking journey uh, at school or before entering the industry? How would you suggest to them to find um, a right startup to work with, or how do they decide to enter a startup or to initiate a startup? How would you come across this differences, and what is your advice?
I think this is a very good question, and I don't have a definite answer. So first of all, as I have to declare, I'm not a startup person. Okay, I don't have a startup myself, right? I'm depending on the infrastructure of the university to support my projects. Okay, but at the same time, okay, I think the maybe considering all the practical concern of students who have also have to take classes and make sure that the GPA is not too low and not affected by distracting themselves from other startup. Okay, I think students, for example, could look for some internship opportunities. Okay, to first of all, make sure that they have a strong foundation. I think that is very important. Okay, and then okay, usually for doing the startup, okay, if you have some good ideas, okay, you can start to talk to some friends and then start with some projects, okay, which although it is risk taking, okay, but maybe okay they are also interesting to the teachers or professors, okay, then they can form a good team, okay, the professors can give you some experience and also some advice, okay, and then at the same time you can try to refine the ideas in a low risk environment, okay. In fact, in innovation wing we are supporting this kind of projects, okay. uh, Not like a promotion, but basically we are providing an environment, okay, for the students, okay, to do some projects themselves. And we also encourage our teachers to hold some projects here so that the students can. Okay, so this is really a first step, okay, in which the students can experience different software. You see, we have very nice hardware here and there, okay, in which you could even team up with different students, okay, from different disciplines, not necessarily only engineering, but also other disciplines, so as to try to see whether this is a first good step, right, to trial something. Okay, whether this can scale to a big business, okay, is another issue, right? But I think creativity and taking the risk, I think, is very important. If you don't have this, you want to keep it safe, fine, okay, but entrepreneurship is not for you.
Yeah, that's well said. That's why we're collaborating, the MIT Node and also Innowing, because we have a similar mandate to act as a platform for students to facilitate their exchange, their idea exchange, their not just only cultural exchange, but knowledge exchange, ideas that they want to bring projects together to work with. So we found we are acting on a similar model, and also, yeah, the if you have a strong desire to solve problems, or you see something from interacting with stakeholders that they have some really real uh, impact that you want to create in the society, maybe you can consider to start out with a small project first with your environment, your peers at the university. You team up, initiate some small group team up, and to work on with an NGO and start a small project to test out as a project that you can earn some credit at the same time, right? So you now, Professor Jen also mentioned the risk-taking level. So do you see some essential qualities that these kind of students, if you want to bring the project one step further in your real actual project experience, how would you advise them, and what kind of skill set they would need to bring this further on?
Okay. I think to me, okay, we need different people. So that is why I think the very first important thing is to form a good team, right? If you just have a team of people who are very good at programming and you don't know how to promote your idea, okay, to some potential venture investment people, right? They will not support your project, right? They will not give money to support your startup, right? But if you just have business students, okay, who cannot do programming, for example, okay, do engineering, that is also not sufficient. So I think if and of course a person cannot handle all the things, right? Of course you could like for example we are trained in computer engineering and computer science, right? Of course you're not very good at money, okay, and financial model, right? So we maybe want to grab a friend, okay, or person who are good at this kinds of writing business proposals, for example, right? So I think it's very important that if you ask about the skill set, I think it depends on first of all what kind of skills are required for that particular the innovation or product to be done, right? And then at the same time, you need to have business people who can have a good calculator, okay, to devise the budget required, okay, what are the manpower, what are the things needed, okay, and also at the same time, I think PR is very important, right? How do you package and market your product, okay, so that it can sell well, right? Because in the end of the day, okay, what is very important is the first impression, right, to the users, right? If they don't like your project, okay, your system, okay, just because you are not marketing in the right way, then it is not easy for them to get your idea, right? And then try to get convinced about it to further provide financial support to it, right?
Yeah, and also if you're designing product, you might need people from the UX UI design designers that put visual stuff together, make prototype, right? So all this entails a bulletproof team is key to success. So also, this is why we encourage you to start out with joining or participating in our Urban Technology Week. It's a promotion here. So because we'll put together different disciplines, students with similar interests to start out something small with a real ideation project in a very quick charrette 2 weeks program so that you can test your capacity, your interests, and make some new friends at the same time with from different backgrounds. So may I also open to questions from the floor and also any questions from our online participants? Welcome to type in and let us know when there's a question. By the way, if Professor Chan can also share any other projects that you want to showcase the importance of social good. The second project you mentioned is ongoing, right?
Right. So the second project, you mean the Chocolate Cup Family Care project, right? We are doing the data analytic part. Okay. One interesting focus of this part is that we are trying to develop a system which is user friendly to the real users, the real owners of the data, basically, right? Because this is something that is sometimes overlooked, right? We talk about how to use AI or to develop some fancy LLM models for data, but sometimes we ignore the fact that it is most important to the owners of the data to be able to know how to use their data to really address their daily needs, right? They may not need a robot, or the good LLM model to help them to generate nice pictures, right? They want to use the data to support their needs. So I think this is important again, for understanding what is the need of the real users, that you are serving, right? So very often I see that some projects produced by our students, sometimes they are just based on some very weak understanding, and then they try to make up something. But you can immediately tell that whether they're useful or not to the users, right? So I think I also learned a hard lesson on this because in the beginning when we talk to them, we think that many of these new technologies can be used, So I try to rush out some solutions for them, but then sooner or later we find that it is a waste of time because the solutions that we provide totally mismatch with what they want, And you really have to adjust your understanding with their understanding, Because the users, may not really be in your area and they may not know a lot of things that happens, right? And you have to really adjust your understanding and try to pretend that you are them, Then how will you view the system so that they can really think that this system is useful to them, right? So I think this is very important to understand what the users want, and this is easy to say but hard to do, Because they're not speaking the language, the same language as you, right? So I think this is very important. And I can also share other projects like we have last year the interaction with on sharing my project with MTR, right? Yeah. So for that one, I think the problem is more engineering related because we are talking about how to analyze the MTR trains, right? And also try to predict the time, right? So I think for that, the problem is very well defined, right? But at the same time, I think the things that we learn is how do we collect data from companies is also a very sensitive issue. And don't underestimate this effort, because if nowadays everyone, I think every student, they're interested in AI, right? But how to drive AI, right? You need to have data, right? But where do this data come, right? That is very important. If you cannot solve this problem, then no matter how good your business model is, it won't work, right? It's as simple as that, right?
Yeah, so it's very crucial to first understand the actual needs through maybe stakeholder engagement, communication, because the user definitely will not understand the complex model of
Right.
data science, right?
Yes.
So how to facilitate the end user to really uh, know what they need through your application or your technology, and not just for the sake of using that technology.
Yeah.
And then the second point is that these kind of data, where could they gather from and how? So, and what sort of data is helpful? So all this is very actual very important
Exactly. Yeah.
questions that you, if you want to um, enable by AI or latest technology, you need to know how what are the ingredients to help you with cooking that dishes,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So is there any questions? Yes, please share, give a microphone for our online, no, in-person participant.
Thank you so much both for the talk. Yeah, so I graduated from Harvard and actually cross-registered at MIT during my time there. And back then, there's like a really strong like innovation culture like across like both universities and across like disciplines. And I was wondering at HKU, like what kind of I guess like initiatives are you guys pushing in like faculties besides like the Faculty of Engineering to encourage them to also get involved in the startup culture at HKU, and what kind of barriers are you guys seeing in terms of getting that kind of buy-in from those like other faculties?
So you're asking what kind of initiatives, right, that our faculty is trying to do in order to encourage more innovations and startup among the students, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
besides the Faculty of Engineering, so for example, maybe like the Faculty of Arts, like like an English student, for example, like how would you encourage them to be involved in the startup scene here?
Yeah. So I think one of the things that I am doing is to trying to develop more funding schemes, okay, for the students. Okay. So every year, okay, now we release several fundings, okay, including Innovation Ring. They also provide some kind of funding scheme, okay, in which the students, if they have some nice ideas, they write a simple proposal, and then we give them some style funding so that they can use them to buy equipment or to try to even use this money, okay, based on what they need in order to buy the materials required to develop a prototype. So we really want to encourage more students to use our funding as much as we can. So that is one way to do it. But I think in general, we also want to see if it is possible to cultivate a better culture in innovation. Because I think most of the students here, okay, I could say that, okay, they're more concerned about finding jobs, which is also natural, right? So that is why in the past year, at least, right, we have organized several seminars to encourage the students to participate. These seminars are organized by big companies, okay, that they offer industry perspective about what kind of jobs they can offer. For example, MTR or Arabs, okay, which big companies doing civil engineering or other kind of engineering jobs. Okay? But at the same time, we want the students to have a broader perspective, okay, looking at what these companies do, and then try to see whether this gives them some inspiration about what kind of innovation they have. Okay, and of course, now we see more and more people coming to InnoWing. Okay, and now we can see that a lot of the students are more interested, okay, in these projects. So I think this is also a slight change in the culture now, and the students are more interested to not just find a job, okay, a stable job after graduation, but they also want to see whether it's possible to at least ignite their interest, okay, while they are studying. Okay. And at the same time, we are also providing good environments for them to develop their robots and also encourage them and support them for different competitions here, so as to try to give them more interest in the end. Okay, so that's the they will not just think about, oh, I want to find a job okay, for stability. And another change I think is that we also try to encourage more research culture. Okay, it's also to respond to you. What can students find? Okay, I find myself very interested in research, and I think you cannot say that research is not kind of not innovation, right? Actually, research has involved a lot of innovation, but of course they require more studying, right? More thinking, right? More intellectual thinking, right? But at the same time, okay, if you can connect research with innovation, I think, okay, because in a more protected environment, a research environment, you study a lot of things, right? And then you can somehow, if you can find a good research idea which you can implement it, right? That actually will give you a more mature development of ideas, right? Because when you're undergraduate students, you are just studying a lot of courses, right? But now when you're doing research, you have a few more years to think about what you really want to do, right? And then based on the research interest, if you can really implement it, okay, after you do your PhD, for example, right? Actually, I see actually many top universities in the US, okay, those professors are already very successful entrepreneurs themselves, right? So I think that is something that we can also learn, okay, in a more high level, right? Besides just thinking about doing innovation in undergraduate study, is it also possible to inject this culture, okay, beyond the undergraduate degree to also master or even PhD degree? So I think that is also very important. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good ending note because actually Hong Kong is picking up the ecosystem. This ecosystem needs time to pick up the mindset change, the cultural change. And on that note, we are helping as the MIT Hong Kong Innovation Node is also helping to facilitate these kind of platforms. And then we offer our platform for cross university students that earlier shared. They know students of not just from Hong Kong U, but university all around CTU, UST, CUHK, and all 8 university students can come together and start something. And maybe also nowadays we have a lot more funding opportunities. Say Science Park also have this ideation program that helps you to incubate early stage idea projects. Not necessary that you need to have a registered company, but with solid ideas, you want to test it out, you can take that seed grant from Science Park. So all this just started recent 2 years. So we hope we can help to participate and push it to the next level to create more synergy among different partners and student bodies and create that um, better, higher safety net for risk takers so that they have less worries to apply their research findings to action, high impact solutions like what Design X and also the Node and InnoWing has been trying to do.
Yes, exactly. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you for the sharing and thank you for all the participants online and also in person. We look forward to your participation in our showcase on 15th of June or for Urban Tech Week 2024. And also, hopefully, you can participate in one of our all programs that will upcoming. And that's the end for today's event. And we will again share the code for registration. And hopefully you can be part of us. And thank you, Professor Chang.
Thank you.
And would like to present a small gift for your participation.
Very nice. Thank you. Oh. Yes, sir.
Oh, you can also follow us on social media and have a great evening. Thank you all for participation.